So to get our project on GitHub, you'll notice there are some GitHub commands down here, but we're not going to really get into using those commands yet. We're going to do what's simple. And what is simple is going into this Git menu and telling it to create the Git repository. Because that's going to open up a little window here. And there are some things we need to change before we can give the create and push command. First, you want to make sure the local path is correct. So this is where your files and your folders are located. So if I come over here, you can see mine are under my username, source, repos, CIT 195, and then temp converter. That's where my files are located. So that is exactly where I want it to look here. Okay, then the next really important thing is that we do not want it to use git ignore. If we tell it to use git ignore, it's not going to push all of our project files up there. Okay, so tell it no git ignore. And then down here for account, this should be your username. And typically the first time that you set this up, you do need to enter your credentials. And normally that involves, it'll take you out to a browser and you just have to log in. The repository name should have been filled in because it uses your project name as the repository name. And I would not change that. I would keep it the same. For a description, this is optional, but might be a good idea to start labeling these because you're going to have a lot of them. And so we could just call it a C# assignment. And then really important, you do not want a private repository because I cannot see that. So make sure you remove that. Okay, and the name of your repository and the location is shown here. And all you have to do is create and push. And then you should see a little message down here by ready. You can see that it started. And it'll run in the background. So if you wanted to work on another project or continue working, you could. And then it should also kind of flag you when it's done. And it should not take very long because there's just not a lot, not there. There's not a lot of files there yet. It's a relatively small project. All right, so now it said created and pushed repository to GitHub successfully, which is awesome because that means it should have worked. So now we go out there and I'm going to refresh. And here it is. And it's public. Select it and I do see all of my files and folders. So at this point, you could click up on that address bar, press Control and the letter C for copy, go into the Dropbox in Moodle and paste a link to this site. And then this exercise would be submitted.